In today's video, we are going to look at some very interesting facts about the Trojan War that might change everything you thought you knew about this legendary war and its aftermath. You wouldn't believe some of these things. So without further ado, let us begin. Welcome to my channel, where we bring you the most amazing stories from human history. Join us as we uncover, investigate, and reveal to you the unknown facts about the most epic battles in history. But before we get into today's video, be sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on any of our future uploads. The Trojan War was one of the most important wars in ancient Greek mythology. It was fought between the Greeks and the Trojans for control of the city of Troy. The Greeks were led by the legendary hero Achilles, while the Trojans were led by their king, Priam. According to Homer's Iliad, the war began when Paris, a Trojan prince, kidnapped Helen, the wife of Menelaus, king of Sparta. Menelaus then assembled an army of Greek kings to help him get his wife back. They sailed to Troy and laid siege to the city. The Greeks were eventually able to capture Troy and burn it to the ground, but not before they suffered heavy losses. Many of the Greek heroes, including Achilles and Hector, the Trojan prince, died during the war. Now, with all this established, let's move on to the video. Number 10. Did the Trojan War really happen? Historians have long debated whether or not the Trojan War actually happened. Some believe that it was based on a real conflict between the Mycenaean Greeks and the Hittites over control of the Anatolian coast. Others believe that it was entirely fictitious, created by the Greeks to explain the origins of their civilization. There is no archaeological evidence that the war actually took place, and many of the details of the story seem to be at odds with historical fact. For example, the Greeks are said to have sailed to Troy in ships, but the Mycenaeans did not develop seafaring capabilities until centuries after the war supposedly took place. The Iliad also describes a massive battle between two armies, but the Mycenaean and Hittite armies were much smaller than is implied in the poem. Despite this, there are some historians who argue that the Trojan War may have had some basis in reality. They point to the fact that the Greeks and Trojans are said to have fought over control of the city of Troy, which is located in modern-day Turkey. And there is evidence that the Anatolian coast was a strategic prize during the Late Bronze Age. Additionally, the Greeks and Trojans are said to have fought with chariots, which is supported by archaeological evidence from the region. However, ultimately there is no way to know for sure whether or not the Trojan War actually happened. The evidence is simply too fragmentary and open to interpretation. The story of the Trojan War has captured the imaginations of people for centuries, but it is likely that we will never know if there is any truth to the legend. Number 9. What started the war? According to Homer's Iliad, the Trojan War began when Paris, a Trojan prince, kidnapped Helen, the wife of Menelaus, king of Sparta. However, there is some debate as to what exactly started the war. Some scholars believe that the kidnapping of Helen was just an excuse for the Greeks to attack Troy. They point to the fact that the Iliad makes no mention of the reason why Paris kidnapped Helen. He simply does it and the war begins. Others believe that the kidnapping of Helen was only one of several factors that led to the war. They point to the fact that the Greeks and Trojans had been hostile towards each other for some time before the war, and that the abduction of Helen was simply the spark that ignited the conflict. Ultimately, we may never know what really started the Trojan War. The evidence is too fragmented and open to interpretation, but that doesn't stop us from wondering. Number 8. The role of the gods. The gods play a major role in the Trojan War in Homer's Iliad. They are constantly interfering in human affairs, helping out their favorite heroes and punishing those they dislike. This is especially true of the goddess Athena, who sides with the Greeks and helps them in their siege of Troy. She is said to have been particularly fond of Odysseus, whom she helped in many ways throughout the war. Athena was not the only goddess involved in the war, though. Aphrodite was also said to have played a major role. She is said to have been bribed by the Trojans to ensure that Paris chose them as the winner of the judgment of Paris. This, of course, led to the war, as the Greeks were determined to get revenge on the Trojans for siding with the goddess of love against them. The role of the gods in the Trojan War has been a source of much debate among scholars. Some believe that the gods were simply a metaphor for the forces of nature, while others believe that they represent the various factions that were fighting in the war. Ultimately, the role of the gods in the Trojan War is up to each individual person to decide what they believe. No. 7. Achilles' heel. Achilles is perhaps the most famous warrior of the Trojan War. He is known for his bravery, his strength, and his invulnerability. According to Homer's Iliad, Achilles was only vulnerable in one spot, his heel. This is because his mother, the goddess Thetis, had dipped him in the Styx of the underworld to make him immortal. But she held him by his heel, and so that part of his body remained mortal. Achilles' heel is a metaphor for the one thing that can bring down even the most powerful people. It is a reminder that no matter how strong or invincible someone may seem, they always have one fatal flaw. Number 6. The death of Hector. Hector was the son of King Priam and the most valiant warrior of the Trojans. He fought bravely against the Greeks throughout the siege of Troy and was killed by Achilles in single combat. After Hector's death, the Trojans were unable to defend their city and it was sacked by the Greeks. The death of Hector is one of the most tragic moments in Homer's Iliad. It is a powerful reminder of the futility of war and the cost of victory. Number 5. The Trojan Horse. The Trojan Horse is perhaps the most famous part of the Trojan War. It is said to have been built by the Greeks as a giant wooden horse that was filled with soldiers. The Greeks then pretended to sail away, leaving the horse behind as a gift to the Trojans. The Trojans, not knowing that the horse was filled with soldiers, brought it inside their city walls. That night, the soldiers emerged from the horse and opened the gates of Troy to the Greek army. The city was quickly sacked and burned to the ground. The Trojan horse is a symbol of the cunning and intelligence of the Greeks. It is a reminder that sometimes the smartest plan is the one that involves deception. 4. Aftermath of the war. The aftermath of the Trojan War was devastating for both sides. The city of Troy was completely destroyed and the Greek forces suffered heavy losses. The war had a profound impact on both cultures and their beliefs. For the Greeks, the war was a demonstration of the power of fate and the will of the gods. The Trojans, on the other hand, saw the war as a tragedy that could have been avoided if Paris had not kidnapped Helen. The aftermath of the Trojan War had a profound impact on the development of Western civilization. The war was one of the first to be recorded in writing, and it has had a lasting influence on art, literature, and culture. The story of the Trojan War is still being told today, and it continues to capture the imaginations of people around the world. 3. Who were the Mycenaeans? The Mycenaeans were an ancient people who lived in Greece from around 1600 to 1100 BC. They are known for their advanced civilization and their involvement in the Trojan War. The Mycenaeans were a powerful force in ancient Greece. They had a strong military and economy, and they were able to expand their territory throughout the region. Their civilization reached its peak during the late Mycenaean period, which lasted from around 1300 to 1100 BC. During this time, the Mycenaeans became involved in a number of conflicts with neighboring civilizations, most notably the Hittites. It is believed that the Mycenaeans fought against the Hittites over control of the Anatolian coast. This conflict may have been the inspiration for Homer's Iliad, which tells the story of the Trojan War. Number 2. The legacy of Troy. Troy is one of the most important cities in ancient history. It is said to have been founded by the Trojan prince Dardanus in the 8th century BC. Troy was located in the Anatolian coast, and it quickly became an important trading center. Over the centuries, the city was ruled by a number of different kings, including Ilus, Laomedon, and Priam. Troy was at its most powerful during the Late Bronze Age, when it was a major player in the Mycenaean world. However, the city's power would eventually decline, and it was eventually destroyed by the Greeks. Despite its troubled history, Troy has left a lasting legacy. The story of the Trojan War has been told and retold throughout history, and the city has inspired countless works of art, literature, and music. Troy is truly one of the most important cities in history, and its legacy continues to live on today. Number 1. Archaeological evidence. There is very little archaeological evidence to support the story of the Trojan War. This is surprising given that the war is said to have taken place in the Late Bronze Age, which was a period of great prosperity in the Aegean region. However, there are a few pieces of evidence that may shed light on the story of the Trojan War. One such piece of evidence is the city of Hisarlik, which is located in modern-day Turkey. Hisarlik was excavated in the early 20th century, and it revealed a number of interesting artifacts. Among the most interesting finds was a large gate that was inscribed with the name of the Trojan king Priam. Additionally, archaeologists found a number of Mycenaean tombs in the area, which suggests that the Mycenaeans may have been involved in the destruction of Troy. While this evidence is not conclusive, it does provide some support for the story of the Trojan War. There are many theories about what caused the war, but no one knows for sure. What do you think started the war? Do you think the Trojan War was a real event, or is it just a myth? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.